Hi everyone, so today I wanted to do a video on the steps that I did before getting pregnant to actually be, I guess, successful and get pregnant on my first or our first try. So a lot of people have done videos on this sort of thing on YouTube. I watched a lot before trying to get pregnant, and I think first of all, you have to think about one thing in particular, and that is your health history. So this is not a video for somebody with polycystic ovarian syndrome or any other kind of mitigating circumstance or pre-existing condition. Prior to getting pregnant, I was completely healthy. I was a healthy weight. I'm 29 years old. I was actually probably 28 when I got pregnant, not sure. And so I didn't have any of those other circumstances. If you are dealing with infertility, these are all things that would definitely help you and your health, but you may want to seek other assistance from medical professionals. So these are just things that I did along with my husband to kind of help us in our first month of trying to conceive, and it obviously worked because we were successful, and I am currently almost finished my 6th month of pregnancy. So it's pretty exciting. So I made a little list because I didn't want to forget anything, and I tried filming this last weekend and I kept thinking, oh, I didn't think of this or that. So I've got my little list here. So the first thing that I also wanted to start off saying was I always had healthy, regular cycles. And by that, I mean that I always had a cycle ranging from 25 to 32 days. So that was since going through puberty. I was always healthy cycles. I never had any problems with irregularities or weird cycles. So that, first of all, I think was something that was a good sign for me to know that I probably wouldn't have any problems getting pregnant. But for somebody my age, statistically, you only have a 20% chance of getting pregnant in your first month of trying. So I really wanted to do everything I could to prepare my body for this next step. So I knew that probably in the next year, this was last year, my husband and I would probably want to start to try to grow our family. And so when I went for my regular yearly checkup with my family doctor, I talked to her about, like, is there anything I should do or know before we try? And this was about 6 months before I thought we would start trying. So I gave myself a lot of kind of leeway if I did need to change anything about my diet or healthcare or anything. And so she talked to me about like my health history. She said she had no concerns about me. She asked about my husband's health and family history. She had no concerns about that. And then she just said that if you're on birth control, you should go off of it 3 months before. This was her opinion. I know lots of people, they just stop taking it and try to get pregnant right away, but my family doctor recommended you go off of it 3 months before. And she also said to start taking prenatal vitamins 3 months before. And those were the only recommendations she gave. Other than that, she said, just obviously while you're trying to get pregnant, avoid alcohol. She asked me if I drank or smoke, and neither of which I've ever done, so that was easy. And the other thing she said was avoid any raw fish. I don't eat seafood, so that was also easy. And she said to try and lower my caffeine intake. I don't drink coffee. So all of those kind of things that just diet-wise that they tell you about didn't really matter for me, which was kind of nice. So that's all that happened in my kind of preconception family doctor visit. And she wrote me a prescription for Pregvit prenatal vitamins. And the reason why she did that was I asked for them. So she said that I could get any prenatal vitamins. She said a certain amount of folic acid that should be in them. I can't remember, or folate. And I can't remember what amount she said, but last year I started a new job that has really good health insurance. So I knew I would probably get full or almost full coverage on prescription prenatals, and I had read about them online. So I asked her for a prescription, and I asked her if they were like good or whatever, and she said, yeah, they're great. If you're covered, definitely get them. If you're not covered, she said, don't worry about it, they're too expensive. So she wrote me the prescription. She said when I went to the pharmacy just to ask ahead of time if I was covered or not, and then determine if I wanted to fill it based on the cost. So I went to my local grocery store. I always get my prescriptions filled at Loblaws because then I can look around, and my Loblaws has a really good beauty department. So while I'm killing time waiting for my prescription, if I'm alone, I'll just stare at makeup the whole time. And so I went and it was completely covered. So it was like my prenatal vitamins were sort of free, out of pocket anyways, they were free. So I ended up getting those, and I took those 3 months before I thought we would start trying. We determined that we would start trying to get pregnant in the summer because that kind of would 9 months later work out to be a good time, because my husband's actually in grad school, so he was going to have a 4-month break the following summer. So we thought if we could maybe have the baby the following spring, summer, that would be really nice, because I would be off on mat leave if everything went well, and he would be off for the summer break in his schooling. So we started trying, and the first month that we tried, we were successful. So the baby is due the first week of May, which will be his first week off of school, which worked out really well. But the next things that I did, so after taking the prenatal vitamins and starting 3 months before I thought we would start trying to have a baby, I also focused a lot on eating right. I read a few books, and I really would not recommend reading books. A lot of the books out there related to preparing for pregnancy are for women that have a lot of infertility issues. So if you are struggling with infertility, there's some great books on diets and different things you can add, like all natural supplements and stuff. Obviously check with your doctor, your naturopath, whoever you're seeing. But I think if you haven't had any fertility issues, do not read those books, because I think they kind of strike fear in the heart of somebody who's just trying to get pregnant for the first time. I know they kind of made me feel a little bit like nervous. But I did focus on eating right. A lot of the books stressed about like basically just having a healthy, well-balanced diet, avoiding too much sugar, because that can create a lot of inflammation in your body. Inflammation can make your cycles irregular and mess with ovulation. So I really tried to lower my sugar intake, and I completely stopped drinking pop. The reason for that is because pop has a ton of sugar, and I also, if I was to pick a pop of choice to drink, it would be Coca-Cola. I probably would only have, like, trying to get pregnant, I'd probably only have like maybe 1 to 3 glasses maximum a week. But I stopped completely for probably 2 months before I got pregnant. And the reason I did that was because Coca-Cola has caffeine in it and sugar, 2 things that are not good for fertility. So I just stopped that. I'm not saying that Coca-Cola will stop you from getting pregnant. There's tons of people that drink it probably during their pregnancy, but for me that was just a choice that I made. And with eating right, I really tried to make sure that I was picking something just a bit healthier. I didn't go on a crazy health kick. I didn't try and lose weight or anything like that. I was already a healthy weight and BMI and everything for my height and age and everything. But what I did do was, like, when I was getting like pizza or something to go, I would get like vegetarian pizza so that I got a bunch of veggies, you know, just trying to get more vegetables in my diet and more fruit. Then the next thing that I did, because it was like summertime when I was preparing, it was like June, July, when I was really starting to think about my health and stuff, I started using my Fitbit more and just focusing on steps. I didn't want to lose any weight really. Like, I would have loved to have lost some weight, but really when you're trying to get pregnant, you shouldn't go on a strict diet or weight loss, because your body can go into shock and that can affect your ovulation and your cycles. So I didn't really want to lose weight, but I just wanted to maintain kind of a healthy lifestyle. So I was counting my steps a bit. And one of the main things that I did was try and drink 3 liters of water a day. I read tons of different articles online, and I think I watched a lot of YouTube videos on this too. And a lot of people said to drink a certain amount. Other people said that based on your weight in pounds, you could, I think, half it, and that's how many ounces you should have or something. There's some formula you can look up. I just tried to drink about between 2 and 3 liters of water a day, and I did notice that it made me feel a lot better. And because it was summertime, I needed more water anyways, I felt like. So that was another thing that I did to kind of, again, prepare my body and make myself a little bit healthier for the process of pregnancy. Then after reading a lot of books and stuff, I began to wonder, like, oh my goodness, so many people have problems with fertility. And I think it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I wasn't like nervous. I just thought, like, if it does take us a while to get pregnant, my doctor had said as well at that very first appointment, that if we are trying for months and months, not to worry. It can take up to a year with a healthy couple, and not to see her for a year until after a year of trying. So I kind of thought, like, a year, like if I've been trying for a few months and we're not getting pregnant, I'm going to start to get nervous, which I think is a normal reaction. And so I really wanted to set myself up for success, because I knew that if I did go a few months without getting pregnant, I would start to get nervous, and I didn't want to feel like that, because that can create stress and mess with your ovulation as well. So what I did do, which was kind of silly, was I was shopping on Amazon. I bought a foam roller for like yoga and Pilates and stuff, because I was doing a little bit of that at home too. And I bought the one that they recommend on Goop. And I was looking at, and I must have been searching things up or something, and something came up in the side, and it was like ovulation test strips. And I had read a lot about those on like people's blogs and forums and stuff. And I really like the Wedding Bee forums. There's a lot of stuff about fertility and babies and stuff in that. And it's just interesting to read. Again, it's important to take everything you read with like as a grain of salt, because it doesn't apply to most of us out there. But it is interesting to read. Anyways, I saw that on Amazon you could get a little pack of like 5 ovulation test strips for like $3 or something. And I was already getting free shipping. So I threw that in my shopping cart. And when it came in the mail, I tried one, and it was like around the time that I thought I was ovulating, and I think I read it wrong. I think I misunderstood well, I know I read it wrong, because I realized a few days later I read it wrong. But so I did the test, and I had gotten the control line and the test line mixed up, and I thought around that time I should be ovulating, and so I thought that my test line wasn't as dark as the control line, so I thought, oh, I'm not ovulating yet, like I'll try it again in a couple days. And I just had 5 of these strips, so I didn't really want to waste them, and I didn't want to buy a ton, because I talked to my husband about it, and he's like, this is our first month trying, you don't need to be crazy about it. It's kind of a fun thing to learn about, you know? And so then a few days later I did the test strip again, and it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like they were the same color, the test line and the other line. And so I thought, oh, okay, good. And like, it didn't matter, because we were going about our lives as normal anyway. So we weren't timing certain things. And then I realized a few days later, like a week later, after, you know, the ovulation window had ended and we didn't know if we were successful or not yet, that very first test strip that I did, it was like beyond positive. Like I had looked at it wrong, and my test line was darker than my control line. So it was really weird that I looked at it wrong that day. And I think in many ways we were just lucky that we went about our normal business or whatever, because I hadn't read the test strips right anyway, so it's kind of funny. So I think test strips are good, but I don't think they're necessary. I think you can kind of gauge if you have a regular cycle. You've got a 28-day cycle, probably around day 12 to 16 you should make sure you are active or whatever. But it was kind of interesting. And so then I kind of thought nothing of it. I really kept telling myself, do not expect to be successful in your first month, because I did not want to be disappointed. And my cycle started on August 1st, and on August 26th I remember feeling severely, like horrible, like borderline depressed, like PMS to the max. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this must be my period coming. I've never felt this bad in my entire life. And I had the day off and I was at home. My husband was out. He was actually at school. It was the first week of his classes starting, and I just felt horrible. And I just remember like Googling lots of things, and I just thought for sure that I wasn't pregnant. I thought I was having like the worst like period of my life probably gonna come. Nothing was coming, but I thought probably. And I just felt so sad and emotional and weird. And so I just kind of was like, whatever, thinking I was having a really bad day. Next day, I woke up, I felt okay. Again, like halfway through the day, I felt like severely depressed and sad and just kind of like not myself. Like I probably could have eaten like a king-size chocolate bar like that. Like I just was like PMS, felt horrible. And that little ovulation test strip pack thing that I had gotten off Amazon came with 2 or 3, I think it came with 3 pregnancy tests, and they were like the cheap dipstick ones. And so I thought, you know what, if I'm not pregnant, I'm gonna go have like the a big bottle of Coke and some chips and like just be a pig. And so I did the test and a second line appeared and I was like, oh my God, it actually worked. Because I don't know why, but I think because I had read so much stuff about like negative, like infertility and stuff online, I just thought 20% chance in our first month, there's no way. And so when it was actually positive, I was like really shocked. And then that day when my husband came home, he came home like halfway through the day or something. And so I showed him and I was like, I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. So I did another one of the other cheapy tests that I had. I only had one more. And so I did that. And again, like all of them came up the same. And I was like, it doesn't seem real unless I do one of those electronic tests that say like yes or no, because this was on the 27th. So it was only the 27th day of my cycle. So I hadn't missed my period and it wasn't like time to really check or anything. The only reason I checked was because I felt so horrible. And so he took me to the grocery store and we bought a 2-pack of like the electronic, the blue ones. I can't remember what they're called, but the ones that say like, yes, you're pregnant and how many weeks? Because I was like, I wanted to actually say like pregnant. And so we did that and we came home. I did it. It was like, yes, you are. And then I think one of the tests just said positive or negative or whatever. And then the other one would say, yes, you're pregnant. So then I did the one that would say yes or no. And it said, yes, you're pregnant. And it said like 1 to 2 weeks or whatever. It was like the smallest amount of weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so obviously my healthy eating and stuff and just being healthy in general helped. But it was definitely interesting that were able to get pregnant on our first cycle. And looking back, I definitely recommend people kind of go talk to their doctor first, try and set themselves up for success, because I know that if we had gotten negatives, I think I would have been like, not hard on myself, but I definitely would have been really disappointed. And so I think it's almost like studying for a test. Like if you can prepare your body in the best way possible, why not try? Like why not study for that test a little bit? So that's just my opinion. Again, it's not for everybody. I have a girlfriend who's actually did not plan out anything and they just got a pleasant surprise and they're due right around the same time as me, which is really exciting. So everything is different for everybody, but I think if you are somebody that is thinking that way, why not plan a little bit and try and prepare your body for it? And plus they always say pregnancy is easier if you are healthy and eating right, because you're already getting yourself ready for the routine you should have when, you know, baby's in your tummy and you're feeding baby as well. So that is just how we went about things and how I got pregnant on our first try, and I feel very thankful and blessed that we were able to do this. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments, please write them down below. I love hearing from you guys, and please remember everybody's different. So what is my journey might not be your journey. Other people might have easier journeys or harder journeys or longer journeys or shorter journeys, and it's as long as, you know, you get your end result that you want, that's the best thing. And if you don't, then there's always another path as well. So anyways, I just tried to make this as positive as possible, and I watched a lot of videos like this when I was looking into getting pregnant, so I thought I'd make one myself and share my perspective. I am going to do a video on my first trimester because right now as I film this, I am actually in my second trimester, and I am due on May 8th, 2019. So, and today is Sunday, January, I think it's the 20th. So today I'm 25 weeks. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll probably upload this video tomorrow on Monday. So if you like it, again, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, let me know, or comments or tips for me, please, if you're already a mommy and you have any tips for the third trimester, the rest of the second trimester, please comment down below and let me know. And thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see little like weekly updates, I've been putting them on my Instagram stories and saving them in like the visible archive thing, so you can have a look there too. And my Instagram name is Red Blue Ivory, just like this channel. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.